Welcome to another episode of You Don't Know Jack with Lydia and Matt. How's it going?
Season 5, episode 12.
Yes.
It does not feel like spring here in Mountain Maryland.
No.
The last week, it has sucked.
It's terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no...
Nasty weather.
It's been raining. It's been gross. Listen, I have to tell you, after being in sunshine for 2 weeks, this blows.
Yeah.
Really.
And you're so falling into a stereotype.
What do you mean?
You know, you're getting older, Jewish woman going to Florida for the winter.
I'm not going to
what are you,
Boca.
a snowbird now?
No, I'm not. I didn't go for the whole winter.
Yeah,
I
next.
suffered.
That'll be next.
Suffered.
That'll be next.
You know what? I get it. Like, I totally get why people do it.
You'll be going to Florida. You'll be eating dinner about 4 p.m. Jeez, Mary and Joseph.
No, I can't. Like, that's so strange to me. We I think one time we had like a 6:30 dinner or something, and I was like, this is way too early for me.
What's funny,
I don't think I'll ever be that person.
I definitely eat relatively early during the week because
you go to bed so early.
Well, but I've also had like nothing but like protein bars, like during the day, especially when I'm like trying to behave myself, which I am right now. And so like I've had like I've had like 400 calories all day.
That's not good, man.
And then I'll go home and I'll like go walk, okay? And literally,
and then you'll feel dizzy. And
no. I don't have any symptoms, but I'm walking. Okay. And the whole time I'm walking, you know what I'm thinking about?
Food.
What am I going to eat? What am I
going to eat?
Nice. And so I get home and it's got to be something I can make quickly because it's like,
because you're in a calorie deficit.
I eat a lot of scrambled eggs.
That's
okay. Because I could cook those really fast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Little cheese.
So some veg in. But no, it's, So listen, I mean, a couple weeks ago when you were gone, the weather here was great, man. It was like spring. The weather
wasn't.
Well, no, we had a couple good weeks of weather. Maybe that you were back by
I
then.
was here. Yeah.
Okay, right. But it felt like spring was here.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it was like 70s.
Yeah.
It was nice.
It was perfect. It was like, oh man, we're on the up.
We
and
just
then
got,
it just
we
went
got
to
like
32.
the taste just smacked right out of our mouth this week, man.
Fall spring.
I mean, I heard it was blowing snow in Garrett County on Monday. Dusting.
It was blowing snow here on Monday.
Yeah, but they had like dusting on the ground.
Oh, no.
Laid
but it was like, it looked like a snow globe, and I was
Yeah.
so mad. So mad.
Yeah.
Here's the kicker. I got to go to New England on Thursday.
Oy.
Yep. They were like, oh, it's supposed to be warm. It's going to be in the 50s. I was like, oh, boy, fine.
Well, that's what it's been here all week.
I know. It's like, it's pretty similar.
So listen, and I've tried to like dial it down. I've had the thermostat at 68.
Our heat kicked on. I'm not mad about it.
I know, but I've done, for me, 68 is low.
68 is low for you.
Me,
I was going to say, I was like, that's pretty normal. Ours is at 68 and the heat kicked on.
Yeah, but mine was at like 68 and I was cold all last night. I was cold.
Were you shivering?
I felt like an Eskimo.
Oh, no.
I don't know if that's politically correct or not, but I was shaking like an Eskimo.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but it was...
But you went out and walked this morning
I
with
did.
a toboggan on.
Toboggan, thermal underneath my sweatshirt. I didn't have the gloves on.
Well, you have a pocket in your sweatshirt for your hands.
By the way, this past Monday, I did walk, toboggan, and gloves on.
Oh, listen.
I was bundled up.
I
mean, bundled.
I walked outside and audibly was like, ew.
Yeah.
Awful. And then walked back in the house.
Yeah, and I have this moron dog.
Benny, who we love.
Benny the Jet. And I have a fenced-in yard, so you don't have to stand there with the dog, but he's like doubles as Houdini. And so this moron he got under the fence and he's stuck in my neighbor's yard then. But so I have to like go outside with him, and I'm monitoring a dog in a fenced-in yard, which is the purpose of having a fenced-in yard, so you can just let them go. So then I'm standing out in the yard all week too. Yeah, in the mornings it's like not nice, nasty.
Well, Jack doesn't like wet weather either.
No, but Benny thinks like that just means go to the bathroom in the house.
Yeah, no, Jack doesn't do that.
No.
But I mean, it's forced.
Benny gets like badger. Like I pick him up and put him back out in the yard like repeatedly. It's
I'm like, Jack will look at me and I'm like, dude, you haven't gone out all day. Like you need to go pee.
Yeah, it's like the faster you go, the faster you can come in.
So what I said, faster I can wipe your paws and you go back to bed.
Yep.
Oh my God.
But
Okay,
so
well,
other than the weather,
things are great.
Yeah.
Speaking of weather, let's talk about better weather that's happening in Georgia. The Masters are this weekend. It's kicked off this week.
It's by the way, I was talking about the Masters. I decided that's going on my bucket list.
I would love to go to the Masters. Yeah, I know
it's going to cost an arm and a leg, and I don't care. And part of the reason I want to go is I want to see like the landscaping. I really do. Like, I'm here for that.
I mean, do you want to go for the Masters, or would you just go to...
No, I'd like to go to the Masters when I'm there, but I want to walk it.
You want to walk the course.
And see the course.
Sure.
And man, it just looks so perfect.
Well,
which it is.
But
like this time, like, I mean, think about it. Like being in that part of Georgia this time of year, man, it's just awesome. It's by the way, it's like my kind of weather, right? You see the golfers like in like a light sweater, I could probably go, light sweater, golf shorts, or just khaki trousers,
khaki pants.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, pantalones.
Pantalones.
Yeah, but no, but I've added. I was watching it. And I'm like, man, I'm gonna go.
And it's just mellow. I mean, a lot of drinking goes on at the Masters.
But the decorum reigns.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It's not like the Phoenix Open. What is it? The waste management. Yeah, it's like it's a dumpster fire.
Yeah, it is a dumpster fire. No, the Masters has like an eliticism to it that people kind of respect.
Yeah.
But Rory McIlroy is then under 12 under.
Yeah.
And then Bryson
is right behind him.
At 10.
Yeah.
And then you've got Corey Connors at 8 under.
Yeah.
So we'll know this afternoon who gets the green jacket. But for right now, it looks like Rory might get his first one. I don't know. You think he's set up to fail?
I do. Well, and I don't want him to fail. That's not the point.
Yeah.
I just think I think he is going to have so much pressure externally and internally on himself. I mean, think about it. It completes the career Grand Slam, and he's choked away a couple bad performances there.
He has, yeah.
He's got DeChambeau, who's behind him, who's going to be partnered with, right? I mean, DeChambeau's live golf. Rory's the ultimate cheerleader for the PGA. He really dislikes the whole live golf thing.
Yeah.
And so, like, a loss for Rory will feel like a loss for the PGA. So I could just feel like, look, if DeChambeau loses, he's going to be fine.
Well, yeah.
I feel like that Rory's going to feel that pressure.
But I think also in the same regard, he's 12 under.
Right. He's played beautiful golf.
He's playing beautiful golf. Maybe he's just in the zone and not really worried about it.
He's played great golf all year. He's played really well. No, I want Rory to win. I'd like to see him complete the career.
Me too.
Grand Slam. I think he'd be like the 5th ever. Isn't it like Gene Sarazen, Hogan, Gary Player, Jack Nicklaus, and Tiger? That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, our AP didn't do it.
No.
Yeah, so this would be so I mean, you're talking about the rarest of rarefied air in golf. And man, he hasn't won a major in 11 years.
Nope, he hasn't. But I think golf is one of these crazy sports that you can kind of be really hot, mellow out, come back. I don't know. I hope he wins. I really think it would be good.
I would say, listen, don't count out. And DeChambeau made that point. It's not just he and Rory. Man, the Masters, that course can swing players really fast, the back nine, where, I mean, that's obviously we've seen it, including Jack. I mean, famously, it was Jack on the charge on the back nine. He shot like a 31 or 30. It was ridiculous. But, I mean, the point is we've seen that pressure starts ratcheting up. If you got a guy, take Shane Lowry, Scotty Scheffler, who are 6 under, 7 under. That's not that many strokes. No. And by the way, if you're those guys, you're saying, man, I got to start hot. Because if you start hot, these guys are going to start hearing the crowd, seeing the leaderboard, and it's going to put more pressure on those guys.
Well, I think that we've all seen this happen before. Like a leader is leading, and then just falls at the very end, especially in the Masters, like you were saying in the back nine. I hope he gets it. It would be a great story for sure.
I think it's great for golf. I think, by the way, this is like the golf dream. If you look at the players on that leaderboard, when you have guys that are so good in contention, like this is how they draw it up. You know what I mean? Like, this is like, again, in the last 3 to 4 pairings, you got Shane Lowry, who's very popular. You got Scotty Scheffler. You got Bryson. You got Justin Rose. You got DeChambeau. Like they have like the leaderboard is not chock full of no names. It's chock with big names.
Big names, yeah. They're, like that's the thing. It's sort of like the golf has had a big resurgence in the last couple of years, and I think it's mainly due to the whole debacle with getting Live and the PGA. But also they did a lot of documentaries. They did a huge golf documentary, which people could then kind of get the inner workings and kind of figure it out. If you weren't exposed to golf as a kid or, didn't know anybody that played golf, you don't really know what goes into it. You can only assume. And I think Tiger Woods was the peak of public interest, and then it kind of faded after that. But now it's kind of coming back into its own. Do you play golf?
No. I did. The back, it's the only thing that really bothers my back, where I've slipped a disc a couple times. It's a great excuse because I didn't like golfing. I wasn't very good at it.
I was going to say you're a lawyer.
So now I'm just like a sponsor.
Your sponsor, great.
I just sponsor tournaments.
That's good.
But no.
Yeah. I will tell you, I've you'll like this. I learned how to drive a ball from Jerry Goldstein.
There you go.
Yeah.
Shout out Dr. Goldstein.
Yeah. Shout out.
There's a guy that's playing
Gold
a lot
member.
of golf right now.
Let me tell you something.
A lot of golf.
That man was not easy, as you know. But he was like, listen, I'm not going to give you a trophy because you tried.
Right.
You're not doing it right. You're whiffing the ball.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, okay, dude. I had Bob Boyle as my coach, so I don't. Whatever you're saying to me is fine. But
you're fine being coach talked.
I'm fine being coach talked. It's fine. And I was like basically hitting beautiful. I was like hitting the drives really nicely off the tee. I thought it was great. That's about as far as I got. And I was so sore the next day I could barely move because I was like, this is insanity.
No, it slipped a disc in my back 3 times. Thankfully, it's always gone back in.
Mm-hmm.
I can do anything else. Like, I mean, I've ran 1,000 miles one year.
Yeah, it's just twisting.
It's just that twist, that torque, man, and it's like a perfect excuse not to do it.
Yeah.
So like when one of my clients, my main client has a golf tournament, occasionally I will be out there driving around just saying hi to people.
That's
So,
good.
yeah,
Meet and greet. Hi, can I get you anything?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, and they just give me a golf cart, man. They just turn me loose on a golf cart.
I love that.
Yeah, it's fun.
Maybe I'll come with you.
Yeah, that's fine.
We can interview people and say like, how's it going?
How's it going?
You know, get used to it for us when we go to the Masters.
Yeah, exactly.
Good practice.
He's got. We can practice. We can pull up
their golf course.
Yeah, he's got a 6 foot. It's gonna go.
But
I'm thinking
the tee.
outside edge. He's got a testy putt, Lydia. It's a downhill putt.
Drop in. Any
There's the
moment
stroke.
now.
Oh, and he's left it out to the left. Oh,
how do we do, guys? Do you
Yeah,
think we could do it? I think we could probably do it.
no, but so I think it's so my buddy Nate Price. Shout out to Nate Price. He and I were texting yesterday. Man, like yesterday was such a great afternoon because I was out running errands. My daughter's back in town this weekend, and
our favorite Rory.
I know I'm sure that's why we cheer for Rory McIlroy.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
But no, she was back in town. We were out running errands, gotten breakfast, blah blah blah. Got home, man. It was like operation shut down. It was like about 3:30. I'm set up in the chair. I got the Orioles on, who I hadn't seen really much all week because they were out west and they had a rain out and a day off. We were watching the Orioles flipping back and forth between that and the Masters.
Ideal.
It was a really nice afternoon.
I was going to say, it's an ideal situation.
Yeah,
I'm kind of glad that it was kind of not great yesterday.
No, I didn't feel bad.
Perfect setup.
Not, hey, got my steps in, been out walking, took my daughter
absolutely.
to breakfast, ran some errands, got stuff done. But
yeah, and then you were like, I got stuff done so that I could sit here and relax.
Yes.
I love that.
And it was a good day to relax.
So speaking of, if Rory pulls this off, McIlroy that is, let's switch to somebody else who actually did pull off a pretty record-breaking situation, which is Alex Oveschin. We didn't talk about it last week because he hadn't done it yet. Yep. But he scored his 895th goal in a vintage Oveschkin fashion from his office, an old-school wrist shot.
Yep. One-timer.
Yep. He's only ever missed 15 games for a broken leg in his entire career.
And that was like this year. The guy broke his leg and missed 15 games. That's it, man.
That's it. And
he was skating in like 3 weeks. It was insane.
It's insane. And he's almost 40. So my thing is, he beat Wayne Gretzky's record.
In the same number of games. So interestingly, he scored however many games, was like 1,800 games. Someone can look it up. But Gretzky scored 894 goals, and literally in the same number of games, he scored one more goal.
Yeah, and that's it. And it's like, oh, wow, that's great. So my thing is, Gretzky had a long career. Ovechkin's had a very long career. This is rarity these days. So I feel, and especially just for
and they both, what you touched on, they both stayed healthy.
That's it. So I was going to say staying healthy minus the broken leg.
Yeah.
They've stayed healthy. They're at the same team. So it's like, okay, I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be beatable unless you have players that are staying healthy and playing.
But I heard them say it was like, hey, scoring's up in the NHL, so that'll help.
Yeah.
And here's the crazy thing. If Wayne Gretzky never scored a goal, so take away the 894 goals, he's still the all-time points leader in the NHL.
Yes, by like so many assists. Mile.
Yeah, like he has so many. He is the all. If you take away all, so you get whatever, a point for a goal, point for an assist, or whatever you get.
Yeah.
if you take away all the goals,
He still leads by like a 1,200 or
yeah,
something
I mean,
crazy.
he's like the all-time leading scorer. Just
That'll
on
never
assists
get
alone.
broken.
No, that one's the one.
That record stands for Gretzky
Right,
probably
yes.
forever. But for Ovechkin, congratulations.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
awesome.
That it's a hard work.
Vladimir
and
Putin was very happy about it.
Yeah, I
apparently.
know, because they're friends.
Yeah,
Weirdly enough.
yeah.
Actually, not weird at all. He's a Russian.
Yeah.
In D.C. Fun.
But it was a no. It was a monumental accomplishment.
It was, and it's like, and I think people were very excited about it. I think the Caps fans are rabid, as we know, and
Right.
very thrilled.
And the
that-
NHL did a good job of focusing on this. The last couple weeks
They
of the
did.
chase, they made sure it was on. They had it on
Sports
TNT.
Center,
They had
yeah.
it on,
Mhm.
but they had them on TNT. They had them on ESPN.
Yeah, no, it was. They
a lot
did a
of people
good
got to
job.
watch it.
Because the NHL, for better for worse, is such a long season and it's a slog, and you've got to really be into hockey. You and I are both
yeah.
like, we pay attention
Yeah,
for
and
the
same-
playoffs, and that's about it.
But and the NHL tends to bumble things.
They do.
They're not a
It's-
great. I mean, they are a distant fourth in the big four sports.
They're not. I mean, I'm glad it's there.
Yeah.
But
No.
honestly, it's like
In
you know,
America, it's just not that big of a deal.
no.
It's not. I mean, the
It isn't.
Canadians, absolutely. love it.
Internationally, hockey is very strong.
And it's not that there aren't good American hockey players, but I'm just saying it just
It's just
doesn't
not-
it doesn't control the TV market.
You know what? You and I both like warm weather
Yes.
sports, and sitting in an ice rink is not my
Yeah,
ideal.
it's not
situation.
warm in there.
No,
when you
it's
go to
not.
when you go to a hockey game,
No.
it's not warm.
No.
I mean, they have it cold because they got ice.
You know where we like our ice in
Am I-
our drinks.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
Like grown up.
Congratulations to Alex Ovechkin.
Absolutely.
Switching to MLB, the O's have a lot of injuries this season, and it's early. It's early though,
I know it's but it's I mean,
and they might have a trade lined up for Corbin. I don't. Okay, so I'm going to just say this: the Sox are in the basement so far in the AL Beast.
but nobody's running away with it. The Red
No, they're
Sox
not.
or the Yankees are only 8-5.
They're 8-6.
8-6. Yeah, I mean,
Blue Jays are 8-7. The Sox are 7-9,
Uh-huh.
and then the O's and the Rays are tied at 6-8.
right.
There's not like a clear
No,
winner here.
no,
They're
no,
all
nobody-
it's pretty even.
Yeah, nobody's distinguished himself in the AL East.
No.
That's for sure.
But I'm just saying, like the O's, the O's coming off of last year, okay, year prior, and okay, this was supposed to be the year, right?
Yeah, the Orioles
This was
do
the
not
year.
look like they've progressed. They look more of a regression.
I agree.
mean, Kausner, though, breaks his thumb sliding into first base, which Ben McDonald almost had a fit when he did it.
Well, I mean, why are
Because
you doing?
don't do
why
it. We teach kids in Little League. It's not faster.
It's
Don't
just a
do it.
rookie mistake,
Right,
man.
and he's not a rookie anymore.
No.
So he breaks his thumb.
Yeah.
Henderson was late starting because of a side injury. He's
He's
back,
back.
but he looks a little rusty.
What you would
Um,
expect
but,
because he's been out.
G-Rod has not pitched at all. Eflin's now on the IL.
Yep.
Bradish isn't expected back until the second half from Tommy John.
Mm-hmm.
No, the pitching staff. By the way, the bullpen has been good. They just can't get to the bullpen. Or when they're getting to the bullpen is not when you want to. The guys, their high leverage guys have been very good, but they can't get into high leverage situations. The Mountain did finally slam the door. It was his
Yes.
first save opportunity.
Yeah.
14 games in, it's the first time they've had a save. Either every game they've won by enough runs that it didn't matter,
Yeah.
or they've been behind. And so, so it was good to see Felix Bautista in there doing what he
Mhm.
does.
Yep.
Fastball's not quite as fast. It's only 97 as opposed to 101,
101, yeah.
102.
Yeah, we saw him
um,
pitch. We saw him pitch a couple years ago. Incredible.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible. Like that, there's some players that you see and you're just like,
Yeah.
oh.
He's a very big. What's amazing? He's like 6'7", and I think he's
Mhm.
like 260, 270.
Yeah.
He doesn't look heavy. Like he's just a.
No.
He
He's
is
a
a
big-
mountain.
he's a
of
mountain of
human
man. But no, we saw him pitch and I looked at him and I go, okay. Like this is a player that just grabs your attention immediately, which is
And
great.
Now, I
Mhm.
love okay, so his fastball is, depends on what you want to call it. It's a sinking fastball or
Yeah.
it's just a sinker.
Mm-hmm.
So his fastball, it's still at 97 now. And then he throws the split off of it, and the split finger obviously is an out pitch. He dabbles with the slider. I wish he'd go away from the slider. I think, look, I don't need a reliever with 3 pitches.
No, you
I
just need a fastball.
Hey, Orioles had
Slider.
Zach Britton slamming the door for multiple years. Britton threw a 97-mile-an-hour sinking fastball.
Mhm.
When you hit it, you beat it into the ground. You can't do anything with it.
Right.
I don't know. The greatest closer in baseball history threw 1 pitch. Mario Varana threw a cut fastball.
Cut
It was the
fastball,
only.
yeah.
Guess what? You're a lefty. Guess what you get? A cutter.
Cut.
Guess what a righty gets? Cutter. That's you just get the cut fastball.
Do you know what I think I'll pitch it all baseball teams are missing is a good knuckleballer.
They're just usually guys to become a knuckleballer the way that Tim Wakefield did.
Yep.
They're a position player.
Yep.
And every guy fools around with a knuckle, but that's just with the baseball guy. They got a lot of spare time.
They got a lot of spare time.
A lot of idle time, and so this is the kind of stuff they do in the minors, and they just start fooling with it, and that's how Wakefield became a great knuckleballer. But I don't know that you're going to see it again because it's almost like a gimmick now. Or baseball
I understand.
I'll tell you who sees it as a gimmick.
Yeah.
As Goose Gossage talked about, the baseball nerds. The nerds don't want to see anybody,
the stat guys.
The stat guys.
Listen, I understand that, but
Goose Gossage's point is a bunch of guys that never played baseball in their life. They all went to Harvard or Yale. They're rotisserie guys. I'm not saying he's right, but this is what he went on a diatribe about this. Like, this is a rant, and he's like, these guys don't know crap about baseball. They've never played.
Right.
It's just this, and it's. Yeah, so that's why I'm not sure you're going to see a knuckleballer again.
Well, I hope we see a knuckleballer
It's
again
fun.
because I think it'd be fun, and it's also something that batters don't ever see nowadays.
Yeah.
And I think it could make or break a game. Like, I think you could go pretty far with a good knuckleballer.
Well, and the nice thing is with the knuckleballer, you can throw him day after day.
Absolutely.
Like, it's just like throwing. It's just like tossing.
A knuckleballer could play a whole, 9 innings.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Like, that's insane.
I mean, usually you take the knuckleballer out because he's become ineffective.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, remember, Wakefield throws knuckleball,
Mm-hmm.
and then he throws you a fastball at 75, but when you've seen nothing but knuckleballs, that fastball looks like it's 100.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how you,
Yeah, I just think, you try to get into the rotation a little bit, pitching people. I mean, at this point with the O's, I don't think it was going to hurt.
I just think baseball's, I don't know. I'm afraid that's one of those things we won't see anywhere.
Well, I'm hoping that it comes back like mustaches,
Yeah.
a nice little trend. Oh, by the way, the Yankees are allowing their
Yeah, you can have facial hair.
You can have facial hair, but it has to be groomed.
Well groomed.
Well groomed. Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. Baseball's it's early. I'm excited. There's some wins. There's some losses. There's some shocks.
It's still great to have on.
It's just I love it.
Yep.
It's fantastic. I'm glad it's back. All right, let's talk about UConn, South Carolina. That game was a total blowout. UConn won 82-59. Gino has now 12 national titles under his belt, and Paige Buckets is now the #1 draft pick.
Yeah. Or soon to be.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's like, who's the
assume.
#1 draft pick is going to be its Paige. Everybody
Yeah.
knows it's the worst kept secret in basketball. I think the combo for UConn, really strong older students who had a good rhythm, had a good cadence, was terrible. Really, maybe good for them. They were not great in this regular season, but Gino's said
By their
time after-
standards, they weren't good.
they were not great, and they said, but listen, I've got a tournament team, and then something clicked mid-season. They were running on all, so they had like really good rapport. Everything was great. They have a great freshman.
Is that Smith, Sarah Smith?
Sarah Smith, yeah,
she's
she's
really good.
like just like so calm under pressure.
Yep.
Ridiculous. Threes inside really well.
Yep.
Then you've got, Fudd, who did amazing threes inside, very dynamic player. And then you have people like Paige and then Chen, who is like crazy good. And my thing is they've got this mix of young players and, older players that have been working together for a long time.
I thought it was a defining championship for Gino in the sense that he got back to the mountaintop. He brought UConn back to the mountain.
And he said that,
people
he's
sort of
like,
thought, well, hey, I mean, again, he'd already won 11, so
yeah.
I'm not
Well,
sure.
People were like, I don't know,
but they
can
were
he
like,
do it again?
Can he do it
Yeah.
again?
And now he's like, yeah, I can. And
Yeah.
he's got great coaching staff and everything else. What I will say that I thought was really great and not a lot of players have done this before is when Paige was being interviewed, she thanked all the people that the practice squad that came, all the people that like their conditioning coaches, all these people that make a team great. She thanked them.
And in case you didn't know, most of the practice teams for elite girls college basketball are men.
Yeah.
They practice against guys that are in college.
Yeah.
That were probably really good high school players. Now, clearly could not play on UConn's men's team.
No.
But these would be the guys that are playing like the intramural teams that are the best teams. Like these are, and they're big physical, and they probably don't have like the 6'10" guy because that doesn't really simulate well for women's basketball. But they have big,
they got
kind
big
of
inside
young
players.
actors. And that's how the elite women practice against very good male
Yeah.
players they're in college. Again, not good enough to play at that level, but give them a really good workout, and that's how they practice.
Well, and
that's
I
why
just, so given the fact that she was like, listen, think the practice squad's here. They've come to this game. They've been with here, blah, blah, blah. I just think it's great. I loved that she was like, look, I couldn't get here without all of these people,
Yeah.
and none of us could. So they are much of a winner in this as we are, which I thought was really incredible. And, the fact that she and Gino have this like really interesting relationship, and, he pushed her.
Yeah.
He pushed her hard.
Well,
And
I don't think you can play for Gino if you don't want coached hard. You're going to get coached hard.
You're going to get coached hard.
No, he's not
Fair.
mean, but you're right.
Fair.
He's not like the tyrant, showing you up.
No.
But he is going to expect. He's going to
expect you to,
especially when he knows you're a great player. He's
Yeah.
going to demand excellence.
Exactly. And I think so. Listen, let's talk about Dawn Staley for a couple minutes.
By the way, I will say that Paige Bueckers now gets to sit at the big girl table.
Yeah, she
right?
does.
She's
she
now
does.
now when you talk about the Mount Rushmore players,
She's up there.
you can put her in there for UConn because again, as I said last
she won a
week, if she
national title.
didn't win a national title,
Yeah.
you could tell me all her statistics. I'm telling you, Diana Taurasi, Sue Bird, Maya Moore, Rebecca Lobo are going to be like, yeah, but
Yeah, but you didn't win a national title.
like you got no rings,
Right. Well,
and so that was
now
a
she
huge
does.
deal for her.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, that's for your legacy, not in women's college basketball. That's for your UConn legacy.
Absolutely.
And you are judged. And again, as I said last week, it's like playing at UCLA, probably even playing at Kentucky, UNC, Duke. If you are not going to be an all-time great at those big power schools, Tennessee women's basketball.
Yeah,
if you don't have a
Stanford.
ring, Stanford, you're never going to be in that
No.
discussion.
No, and
so
I
for
agree.
her, I was very happy for her.
Yeah, totally. I think that Dawn Staley did a hell of a job coaching her team. Her team just wasn't in it. She has one player in particular that, can turn and burn, and it wasn't burning to that. And then she would pull her out of the game, talk to her, try to get her to do something, put her back in the game. And then sometimes that works and sometimes it's effective. But here, I'll tell you, Dawn has a great team. Obviously, they made it to the final game. I think they just were outnumbered.
Yeah, they weren't when they were out coached. Listen, UConn jumped on them early and it was over.
And it was over, yeah.
I will tell you, I think South Carolina, I'm only looking in the last 5 years, including this year.
Yeah.
It is the best program in women's basketball.
Mm-hmm.
UConn was just the better team this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
In the tournament.
Yeah.
But I think day in, day out. Now, that is not dismissing what UConn's done. Some other really great women's programs. I mean, Notre Dame's got a great program.
Yeah.
We can go through and pick out a bunch of teams that have great programs. But I'm saying, NC State, really solid basketball program. But you can start looking, and I'm telling you, by the way, Maryland finished 12th.
They did.
Yeah.
Maryland has always had a strong elite.
Another good program. But I'm saying, in the last 5 years, if I'm looking at women's basketball, South Carolina is the best program. And it starts with Dawn Staley.
Absolutely.
Now, she would say it starts with players, but no, she's the woman who gets the players there, makes it attractive.
I would say that any woman going to college who's elite can play in D1. Their first choice is probably South Carolina.
Right. And what Dawn Staley has, without saying it, and I'm not saying, she's going to say, like, hey, if you come to UConn right now, is Gino going to be there for 4 years? I'm sure he's saying he's going to, but you don't,
There's some stability in Dawn.
Yeah, well,
her youth.
Right, I was going to say, there has been in UConn forever, but you're looking at Gino saying he's like in his late 60s. Like, is he going to say
70? He's like 71 or 72.
Is he going to say, like, man, I've had enough? Like, this would have been a time to say it, but clearly he's coming back.
No, he's like fired up now.
Yeah, but that's one of the things. So if you're sitting there, if you're an 18-year-old, and look, if you're an 18-year-old playing women's basketball, you're going for 4 years or 5 years.
Yeah.
That's just the commit. You're not like
One
college
and
where you're one and done if you're the elite
No.
player. You don't have to love it when you're there if it's going to be one and done. So, I think that helps Dawn Staley for sure. I think it absolutely helps her.
And I will say, again, she's gone to the finals 4 out of 5 years. That's not bad. Good for her.
Again, it's the best program in women's basketball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep.
Okay, so let's switch to men's. That was not a blowout. It was crazy. Florida won in a really close game. I think it came down to poor clock management
Yeah,
for me.
couldn't get a
Houston.
shot off for Houston.
Could not get a shot off. They had, they just kept looking around. And I'm like, why are you not shooting the ball? Like, you've got so little time. They lost it basically to poor clock management. They couldn't deliver a 3-pointer to tie the game, and they lost the national title because of it. I
fell asleep.
I know you did.
Yeah.
Florida won. It was fine. It was not a blowout.
No.
It was basically like, it was a draw. Those teams were even.
Right. But I felt, you know what? Part of the reason I fell asleep, it was just wasn't that exciting of a game.
It was.
It was competitive.
It was competitive.
But it wasn't like compelling. No, it was competitive, but not compelling.
I would say both of these final games were not thrilling.
No, well, in the women's game had all the makings to be compelling.
100%.
But UConn took that away.
Yeah,
to
really
their
quickly.
Credit, they took it away.
Pretty quick. You and I texted on that because that was a 3:00 game, which was good for you.
And it was like it like
4:30.
I don't even know it was 4:30. It may have been before that. We're like, well,
4
this
o'clock.
I
was like,
it was the middle of the third quarter, and you knew you could go do something else.
I was like, well, that was fun.
The issue was decided.
Yes, I was like, well, that was fun.
It was really decided earlier than that.
Pretty quick. I think like second quarter, it was probably over. For the Florida-Houston game, I was just like, okay, it's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Nobody was pulling ahead.
Again,
nobody was playing any.
Just not compelling.
And also, I didn't have a dog in the fight.
No,
so
and
I was
those
like,
two teams, I mean, again, I'm sure popular regionally.
Yeah, but
those aren't
here.
Teams that draw you to it. You know, it's not like, there was no great storyline that drew me to those games.
No,
it was just nothing.
Nope. I agree. I was sort of underwhelmed, but whatever.
I mean,
I was like, oh, Florida won. Okay, whatever. Let's move on. Next.
Like, it wasn't like you were saying, oh, could UCLA get back to the mountaintop?
Yeah.
Or could Coach Cal win with another team? Or
exactly.
Or something like that.
That was exciting to me.
Right.
That's why I picked Auburn.
Right. But I mean, or Bruce Pearl, but there's no story that really drug me into that game.
No, absolutely not. Well, I mean, that's pretty much all the sports we've got, but we've got some pretty other exciting news.
Yeah.
We've got some, so Bernie Sanders made an appearance at Coachella. Thank you, Rory, for that.
So, shout out to my daughter, pointed that out to us. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Coachella is a music festival, takes place out in California.
Indio, California, which is close to Palm Springs.
Palm Springs, yep. Mm-hmm. And it's a very big deal, West Coast. I mean, it is to the West Coast what Delfest is to the East Coast. Yeah, It's on. It's
a
on
little
par.
bit more well known.
But not much,
No.
Delfest,
okay.
Okay. But no, it's a huge music festival out west, and Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders, he came out and he had a rousing speech to the crowds at Coachella. He and AOC are doing a nationwide tour. Talking about how to be more active and engaged in your civic duty as Americans. And they're also helping spearhead Democrats going into red states for town halls. The crowd was very receptive. The crowd is very young at Coachella typically, and the crowd was very receptive and very excited to see Bernie Sanders there. He introduced Claro, the artist Claro, to come out. I believe he was invited by either Claro or the Coachella people who run Coachella. But I think it was a very cool opportunity, and I'm glad that Bernie stepped in and said, "Yeah, I'll go to Coachella and talk to have a chance to engage with a lot of people." And I think that was amazing. Lady Gaga opened that weekend. Coachella goes over 2 weekends.
Yep.
And the Friday night and Saturday performances, and so pretty cool bands.
So things that you find on Twitter just randomly. This morning I was looking, and they showed, I don't know what it was. They just showed a clip of it. Mm-hmm. Lady Gaga's in the car.
Yeah.
And the guy who's with it gets in, and now I'm going to blank on his name, lead singer of AC/DC. Is it like Brian Jones?
Yeah.
He climbs into the car with Lady Gaga, and he's driving.
Yeah.
And they're singing Highway to Hell. And
Yeah.
Lady Gaga is just geeked out about it. Yeah.
It.
I mean, it was so odd. It was like,
Lady Gaga is like, she's collaborated with like Metallica, and
but it reminded me of like the guy who used to do the thing when he had Paul McCartney driving around
Carpool Karaoke. I think it is. I think it's an offshoot of Carpool Karaoke,
which I love.
Yeah,
though none was better than Paul.
I agree.
It was the best.
Well, Elton John was pretty fun.
Yeah, but Paul in Liverpool.
No, I know.
In Liverpool doing it.
That's pretty like the height of Beatledom.
I mean, driving down like Abbey Road,
and then just playing in a pub.
Shows in a pub.
Yeah, just a random pub, and they're like, "What is going on?"
Yeah.
So I mean, I thought that was really great and a good opportunity for them to go out and speak to a bunch of people that are feeling kind of like left out and kind of listless, maybe. Something else that happened in our local town. Henry Louis Gates Jr. came to Cumberland to do. He has a great show on PBS called Finding Your Roots, And he said it's been on the air for a very, very long time. It's a spectacular program, but he had a family mystery himself. He's the host of the show, Harvard professor from Piedmont, West Virginia, and has
the founder of African American Studies at Harvard, and one of the founders of African American Studies nationwide. He and Cornel West kind of are the two. They were the two intellectual heft that built what you call an African American Studies program. Those
Correct.
two are generally given credit for being the founders of that study, that line of education in America.
So he, we're very lucky. But he has very strong ties to Allegheny County. His family kind of was established and started in Allegheny County.
Jane Gates' house.
Jane Gates' house. So he was, there was always a mystery of like who the father of Jane Gates' children were. And they couldn't quite figure that out. And they did find it out through genealogy and genetic testing. But your firm was responsible for some of the real estate research.
So we did some real estate research for Finding Your Roots for the Henry Louis Gates episode. It was the season finale this year. And a shout out to my paralegal, Kelly Laffey. And we got credit on Maryland Public Television.
It was really fun to see.
We were really proud. Look, we're very proud of our roots at Allegheny County. I've known the Gates family members. I do not know Skip Gates, Henry Louis Gates Jr., Dr. Henry Louis Gates Jr., but I know members of the Gates family.
Sure.
They go back with my family, multiple generations. And so we were really proud to just play a small role.
Sure.
But then we get credit from Maryland Public Television to give us a shout out for it. We really appreciate it.
We watched the episode. I love Finding Your Roots. I think it's a very, I just think it's a great and interesting program. They do such a good job of it. And then we watched that last finale episode, and I was like, oh, I know those guys. It was
I'm
really,
repping it right
you're
now.
right. Yeah, you're totally repping it right now. But I just thought it was really amazing. It was a great episode. If you haven't checked it out, you can see it on PBS.
And I'll make sure I will, I'll retweet a link to it as well.
Yeah.
When we're going to talk about the break and find it, we'll put it on You Don't Know Jack and on our individual Twitter sites, so you can find that episode.
Yeah. So it was fun to see.
Yeah, and we were very proud to play a very small role, but on a very important thing,
Absolutely, and the fact that it's a internationally broadcast program. We're talking about Allegheny County, family names,
absolutely,
locations, going to Rose Hill Cemetery, which is in our neck of the woods, and it's just like it was pretty cool to see.
No, and I mean,
in a positive way.
Right,
I mean, it wasn't
listen, in the African American community. Certainly in our area, there's no more kind of well-respected and well-known names than the Gates family. They go back. I mean, obviously, Jane Gates is the first woman of color to own her own property.
Own property in Cumberland,
Yeah. So I mean, they go back.
On Green Street.
Yeah, on Green Street. They go back, hundreds of years here, and then Piedmont is right outside of Westernport, where Henry Louis Gates Jr. grew up. Again, it's part of the Tri-Towns area that we call it, but again, it's across the bridge, but it's like Maryland. Again, a lot of ties, a lot of folks there. Folks of color actually had pretty good jobs in Piedmont because they worked at the paper mill.
I mean, Piedmont at one point had an opera house.
Oh yeah,
it was like very, very affluent.
Yeah,
But
so,
I mean, it was.
So it was just cool to be part of it.
I think it was really fun to see.
We're cool to be part of. We're cool to be part of it.
Well, you are, guys. You're just cool in general, so it's not shocking
it was
that
very
working
cool. It was very cool to be able to do it.
Dr. Skip.
Yeah.
So that's about it.
So that's season 5, episode 12 in the books.
Yeah.
We did get you back to back, so we got So by the way, Lydia, I should say happy Passover.
Thank you very much.
I guess it's happy Passover.
Yeah.
Appropriate.
It's a happy occasion.
Yeah.
It's a they tried to kill us. We won.
Let's eat. Yeah.
Holiday.
Yeah. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I was actually joking with somebody about that like a couple of days ago. I'm like, I'm like, I've been to Passover, like, or do you know Passover dinner? Like, oh yeah. And I said, I got the abridged version at Seder. What is it? They tried to kill us. We won. Let's eat. Yeah. And I appreciated that.
Yeah. Well, you're very lucky you did not get the Maxwell House.
Yeah, they did get me. They did an abridged version of the reading, but then the guy who just passed away, Mike Hendler, great lawyer. I was with his family, and this was 20 years ago. But yeah, he's like, really, Matt, what it boils down to is they tried to kill us. We won. Let's eat.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I mean, I will say Seders are traditionally long, arduous. A lot of wine is consumed, and at the end, you do a lot of singing. So, Afikoman's are hidden. Afikoman is this. It's called a dessert matzah. It's not that special. I mean, it tastes just like regular matzah, but they hide it. Like parents hide it, and then the kids search for the afikoman, and then you're supposed to be super. They usually get like I don't know. It used to be a quarter or $1 or something, a gift.
Yeah,
like you get like a prize
right.
if you find the afikoman, which gets the kids out of the dining room while you're cleaning up and all that kind of stuff, and they look for the afikoman, they find it, they get it, and then it's like, oh, it's this, and then everybody shares the afikoman, and it's supposed to be sweet and like delicious. It tastes just like matzah. It's not chocolate covered matzah. It's nothing special.
Listen, if I never have gefilte fish again, though, it'll be too soon.
Oh my god, I don't
tried it.
on
I was a team player.
Listen, it's been a long time since I've had gefilte fish. I don't blame you on that one.
I'm never gonna.
I don't blame you there.
I could predict the other stuff. I was cool.
Matzo ball soup.
Yeah, matzo ball, obviously. Well, I wouldn't predict like where I went the 2 times I went. Like, they like brisket. Well, I'm not eating brisket because I don't eat brisket anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't eat meat, but
right.
No, but I mean, like I said, the rest of it, I like. Hey, I was here for it, but man,
the Hillel sandwich. That's usually my favorite. So Hillel sandwich is this thing called harosets, which is like apples and nuts and a little bit of wine and some honey, and then you put that on 2 pieces of matzah with some horseradish. Yeah. It's delicious. Yeah. And sometimes you get the horseradish up the nose, but that's the risk.
That's part of it. It's like wasabi.
It's wasabi. You get a little hint, and sometimes you go, whoa. So it is what it is. We used to do seders with Dr. Manasseh, who have very fond memories of doing the seders with him. And once he had grandchildren, thank God, he stopped doing the full Maxwell House cover to cover, which could take up to 4.5, 5 hours. So it's a long time. And sometimes I'd be late for school the next day because first thing it just depends when it would fall on the calendar, and if it's before daylight savings or after daylight savings, you gotta wait until there's 3 stars in the sky. There's a lot of rules, a lot of rules and regs got to go on there. But so thank you very much. And Easter is next Sunday, so we probably will be taking a pause.
Yeah, we will be. We'll take a pause next week. Not that I'll be doing much, but we are going to meet up with my daughter and Frederick next year. So this next week, we're going to brunch Dutch's daughter. Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Elite brunch. It's like a high-end buffet, so we're going to totally get ripped off because
whatever.
Needless to say, like, we're not like, no, the food is excellent. Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I'm never going to eat enough food
to pay for the to justify the buffet.
No, it's going to be like,
to-go containers in your big old bag.
Yeah, they should put like a ski mask on when they charge us. They're like, they see us coming, they're like, oh, look at these pikers. They're like one platers.
One platers. Yeah, they're going to do one plate and they're leaving. Yeah, no.
But it is a great restaurant.
That's good. Well, this next Sunday, I will be in New England. It's a trifecta, so Greek Easter is typically the week after.
Right.
But it is actually falling on 4/20, which is a full moon and all that kind of stuff. So, my family, I'll be up there, and my family's all getting together, so I'll get to spend some time with them. So that should be good.
Yeah.
I think there'll be lamb and salmon for me. Yeah. And then I think something, I don't know, dolmadas, which is stuffed grape leaves. And,
I used to be forced to eat lamb when I was a kid. Don't really like it.
Well, how was it cooked?
Leg of lamb. My aunt used to make it. I just didn't like it.
You didn't like it? Mm.
Maybe it was just thought of it being a lamb. It was a kid. It just kind of like scars you.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, there's
the mint jelly kind of weird too.
Oh, we don't do mint jelly.
That kind of weirded me out.
No, we don't do the mint jelly. It's more like a garlic kind of.
But you're not going to do the lamb either.
I don't do the lamb. My aunt's doing the lamb.
Right, but I don't do the lamb either.
Yeah. Well, Tim does a good lamb.
Does he?
Tim does a good leg of lamb.
I think it was one of those things. I just feel like scarred from it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, like tongue. People don't like tongue either.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah. I mean, leg of lamb, or lamb in general, like it can be a very good meat, but so I'm told, but it's just, I don't know. It's off-putting to me.
I went to Costco and you could buy a whole lamb in the freezer
with
section.
The head and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
I mean, that's the thing, the head is the most it's like the most people want the head.
Yeah.
They want to eat the head.
Yeah. Little head cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The cheek and the eye and everything.
Well, I mean, like pork jowls, the cheek, or that is the elite cut.
I say on fish too.
On fish, on sushi, on like yellowfin and stuff. The most expensive is the collar. Mm-hmm. The collar is the singular, where you see those fish going for like thousands of dollars. The choice meat is the collar.
Absolutely, it's a sweet meat.
Yeah. And it is like it's fatty and it's just sweet. Yeah. It's always weird. Like you think of all the places, you think, oh, it's the belly. It's just that. Nope. It's right around like where its cheek would be.
Absolutely. Yeah, so Passover's happening. It's currently ongoing. And then we've got, Greekster coming up, which is fun. So we should have a great time.
Yeah, I didn't make the connection until just now. I couldn't figure out why the hell the 10 Commandments were on last night, but now I know it's Passover. I didn't read it, even though I knew it was Passover.
You should just watch History of the World when that comes on.
I'm like, dude, why are they putting that on, man? I see a bunch of white
Charlton
people playing like desert folks. It's just weird.
It's all weird.
Yes,
it's a weird movie. That's
yes.
why do you know that's why we have 10 Commandments around the United States?
Oh yeah, it was just done to promote. It has nothing to do with about the religion. It was done to promote the movie.
It was a promotion that they did around towns throughout the United States to promote the movie.
Yeah.
So if you're fighting for 10 Commandments in your town, you're just fighting for a Hollywood prop.
Yeah, it was a Hollywood.
Congratulations.
Exactly what it was.
Hollywood prop.
I did know that.
Fun facts.
So season 5, episode 12 in the book. So
Yes.
Lydia, those of you who are a little slower on the uptake, then you would realize that means there's been 11 previous episodes this year, and there's been 4 previous seasons.
Yep.
So, Lydia, if you just stumbled upon us and just found us, where can they find us?
iTunes, Stitcher, Amazon, Google Play, Spotify, Audible.
Love Audible. YouTube,
iHeartRadio, Deezer, and Player FM.
And also on, but our YouTube is just
it's just audio.
No video. This isn't Joe Rogan.
No.
So you can
Thank
find
God
us.
for
You can
that.
find us. You can also find us on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, at JackYDK.
Yes.
You can find Lydia at Twitter at
RTL Pod.
and you can find me at GMPG. So we're going to be off next week not for Easter, but we're just off. It happens to be Easter
Because we need to eat really good ethnic foods.
And we'll be coming back though the week after.
Yes.
All right.
Sounds good.
See you next time.
Bye.